Okay. Speaking of college football, Jeff, let's go straight into the potential expansion to 16 teams. And just to level set with the viewers, right? In the For those of you that are younger and that are weren't into college football back in the day, it used to just be two teams, right? The AP used to vote the one and two, and that used to be the national championship game, right? And I think around 2014, let's say 10 years ago, we expanded to a four-team playoff that was again by the voters, one, two, three, four, that would just get voted in. It was pretty much dominated by SEC and of the Big 10, Big 12 schools or whatever. But now we have a more structured format starting last year where we had 12 teams and playoff seeding for the first time. If you win your Power 4 conference, you are guaranteed a slot in the quarterfinals. And the rest of the best of the rest of the best get in, the next 8 teams get in through the AP voting, right? So that's where we're at right now. Jeff, what's going to happen most likely is in 2026, they're going to add four more teams in the mix. Did you like the original expansion from 4 to 12? And then follow up, do you like what's about to come from 12 to 16?
So like let's correct a couple things though, right? Was it 2000 before 2001? The AP just kind of awarded a national title to whoever they thought, right? Which is why you had like Michigan and Nebraska. One was the national champion for the AP, the other one was coaches. Then you had the introduction of the BCS, which had their polls and their systems and their spreadsheets, which is how it was determined who the top two teams were. And then you had the evolution into the current system, which is the college football playoff, which has a committee, which is the AP poll no longer matters. It has not mattered since 2014, so AP voters can go kick rocks with no socks. But you do have a college, playoff committee, which is supposed to be former coaches, former ADs, some politicians have been on this thing. It's absolutely fucking terrible, right? And now you look, they go from 4 to 12. I didn't think we needed 12. I don't think 12 was any better this year. If you did, it's because your team finally made a fucking playoff because they weren't good enough to make the 4. Sorry, can't help you. Okay, yeah, exactly. I didn't have that problem, right? My Clemson Tigers won 2 national titles, played for 4 during the college football playoff era. So, like, I just thought it was nonsense anyway. Going to 16 is absolute bullshit. Okay, nobody's asking for a 16-team playoff. I don't care that the FCS does it. I don't care that Division II does it. I don't care that high schools do it. 16-team playoffs is because the SEC and the Big Ten want to keep pushing, the Big Ten want to keep pushing this. We're the best narrative. So they're trying to push this because they want more of their teams into it. Because let's be honest, outside of the top 3 or 4 teams in each of those conferences, if it's even that deep, they're absolute garbage. Right? Like, I'm sorry, South Carolina, you're fucking trash. You didn't deserve to be in the playoff. And I hate to break this to you, South Carolina, but moving it to 16, your bum-ass team still isn't getting into it, okay? Your trophy case has more dust on it than a grandmother's vagina. Sorry, it does. It's absolutely terrible. Sorry, man. This is what it's come to, right? Like, these SEC programs are like, oh, poor is us. We couldn't get in with 9 fucking wins. Go win your division. Recruit better, develop better, right? Like, moving to 16, nobody's asked for this. Nobody wants to see Indiana get fucking boat raced again, right? Like, that nobody wants to see Purdue get in there and go 0-1 and get boat raced by a terrible, I don't know, Ole Miss team. I don't know. But that's what it's come down to is we want to move to 16 now. 2 conferences, not everybody. 2 conferences want to move to 16 because they just want more of their teams into it. Ultimately, what's going to happen is the SEC and the Big Ten are going to go do their own shit. They're going to pull a Central Florida where they're the true national champion, and that way South Carolina can finally fucking win something. It's absurd. Nobody's asked for 16. Nobody wants 16. It doesn't get any better. All you're doing is watering down their product at that point. Like, let's keep this real. I think moving it back to 8 to 10 teams would be fine. 12 is, to me, I don't think this year was all that great. Yes, 12 allowed my Clemson Tigers to finally get back into it since the first time since 2019. That's fine. But I'm also not out here crying about, well, I didn't get in because I just didn't. right? Like we weren't good enough. We weren't good enough. And so, look, moving to 16 again, trash. I keep saying the same shit over and over again. But like I'm tired of the crying from these SEC schools that are being carried by the Alabamas, by the Georgias. Just if you're not good enough, you're not good enough. Get better.
So what I
Get better.
like about it, Jeff, is the having the finality of like a college football game inside of a stadium. And even though I was kind of victim to that, my volunteers were a victim of that going into Ohio State and that electric atmosphere. It was still really cool to just see that environment of an elimination game in a playoff stadium, because usually the playoffs, right, before the 4 team formats, and obviously when it used to just be 2 teams for the national championship, that was on a neutral field. I hope that the college football playoffs, if it does expand, they maybe make the quarterfinals at home too, because the teams with the bye week really got robbed of a home playoff game. I think that
Yeah,
part's
I
really
mean,
fun.
they did get robbed of a home playoff game, and then there's something to be said about having an extra week off that doesn't bode well for teams. Arizona State. I was at that game here in Atlanta. Arizona State. It took Arizona State 3.5 quarters to get their shit together and finally make a run. And Andrew McCuba made a great play at the end of that game for Texas. But they just didn't play well. That off week didn't do them well, and so everybody always wants that bye week, but ultimately, I think you got to do away with that bye week. Let everybody host a game. Let the top, if you're going to move to 16, let the top 8, or if you're going to stay at 12, let the top 6 or whatever host at home. There's a lot of different ways to do it. But again, for me, I have no interest in 16. Though I do agree with you, playing a home playoff game for teams that earn it is phenomenal. And you know what? The one thing that nobody ever talks about is a home playoff game makes it a lot easier on that fan base, right? I mean, you look at what you look at what it costs. If you were a team like Ohio State and you didn't get that, you didn't get that bye and you played Tennessee, or maybe they did, whatever it was, to go to like all 4 games, it's something like $10,000 a person. Like, who the fuck has that? I'm sure some of you do. I'm sure, Andrew, you're great with, you're a great math guy, so you probably have $600,000 in a savings account somewhere just saved for Tennessee to go make a run and get somewhere special. But most of us don't have $10,000-$15,000 sitting around to go follow our team for a month to go win a national title. So now you got to start playing the what if game. Well, if they get here, I'll go buy this ticket. If they get there, I'll go buy that ticket. And fans shouldn't be put in that type of position. But hey, we do everything for the money, even though nobody asked us to change a damn thing.
I 100% agree with that. And what do you call it? I didn't honestly, I didn't even think about that effect that keeping the games locally would have, because you have these like loyal fans, right? And now you're gonna just pick them up and just throw them halfway across the country to follow their college football team. And by the way, when those games are in certain stadiums, like when Georgia came down to play TCU in LA at SoFi Stadium, one of my buddies is a diehard Bulldogs fan. He had to cough up like $2,500 for that ticket, but because he was local to LA, he was able to pull that off. So imagine you had the flight, the ticket. The ticket's like a Super Bowl ticket at that point, and you're in LA, one of the most expensive places in the US. Like, that's not fair to the fan base, but they're never going to change the national championship venue. You could at least do it for the quarterfinal.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't mind having it as a, you have the semifinals, you have the finals, you know where those are. You can kind of make arrangements. Like, I get all of that, right? But to like, I'll use my best friend as an example. He knows who he is. Nobody else does. They have the financial means, right, to travel and make all of these games. For their family of 4, it was more than 20 grand, right? Like, people don't understand, like that Texas Arizona State ticket here at the Peach Bowl. We sat in the lower bowl. We sat in yes, it was the Mercedes Club. We had, we had luxury seats. That was great. But those tickets were $1,500 a person. Arizona State now, they got to pay $1,500 for lower bowl. They got to pay, and by the way, if you don't get your flight early on in the year, like if you wait until those matchups are set, Delta, Southwest, United, American, they all have people watching that. Go do a day before and then do the day after that selection is made, then that all comes out. You'll see how big of a difference that flight was in 24 hours. It's absolutely insane. It's just not feasible for people. But hey, if you know that if it's a 4-team and you're following it along, it's a lot more feasible to get to 2 games than it is to 4, right? And yeah. if you know, it's just fans are never thought of anymore, man. And it's absolute shit. It sucks. Because ultimately, like, we are the ones that are keeping this thing afloat. We're the ones that are watching it. We're the ones that are paying for everything. But nobody gives a shit about fans anymore. We're just expected to find ways of coming up with money to do this. And I think here in the next 10 years, you're going to see a reckoning where some of these stadiums are more than half empty because fans are just simply tapped out.
Yeah, and it's not even the stadium too. Like, think about the streaming that the NFL is doing now too, right? Like, if you want to watch the game before you have your standard cable and you buy the Sunday ticket, right? Like, if you're not local to Atlanta, that's the way I would have to watch Falcons games. I would have to go DirecTV, buy the Sunday ticket. So now, not only do you have to have the Sunday ticket, but you have to have Peacock. You have to have Amazon Prime. You have to maybe even get ESPN Plus now. Like, you add it all up. I think I saw an article out there to watch all 272 regular season games. You're gonna have to spend, I think, around $1,000 on the year to watch all of that, and that's not fair to the average American. Like, what are we talking about here? We're not even talking about going to the damn game. We're talking about watching it from the comfort of our home.
And you know, here's what the NFL, and they'll talk about this number every now and then. They don't really like to. 87% of NFL fans have never been to an NFL game. Think about that. 87% of NFL fans have never been to an NFL game. So they know how diehard Cowboy fans are, right? Like, they haven't been fucking relevant in 30 years, but they know their fans are going to spend whatever it takes to watch them on TV, and they know that. And you know, it's just, you know, we're living in a day and time here in 2025. And I talked about this the other day. You know, use Atlanta for instance. The average person in Atlanta doesn't make enough money to afford the average home price in Atlanta right now. But the NFL, the NBA, college football, Major League Baseball, they keep jacking up ticket prices. They keep jacking up streaming prices. And eventually fans are simply going to not have a choice. It's either going to put foot on the table or you're going to watch your favorite football team. And I'm sorry, no matter how big of a fan you are, you're not choosing that over, you know, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You're just not, right? And so at some point here in the near future, you're going to see a reckoning, and you know, these owners' egos and these commissioners' egos are going to be brought down to earth when they lose their most basic fan.